1. The Stranger in the Storm. Snow-covered mountains, early morning. Kenji's POV. I stood on the front porch, watching the ethereal scene unfold as I sipped on a steaming cup of black coffee. The sky, a pale gray, pregnant with the promise of more snow. The wind wailed mournfully, casting an eerie stillness over the expansive white landscape. In the middle of all this sat my humble cabin among the towering pines, with wisp of smoke curling from its chimney. My demeanor was as icy as the winter outside, a sign of what kind of day I was going to have today. A shitty one. I shook my head, accepting my fate while tracing the old scars on my knuckles and just above the Navy SEAL tattoo on my forearm. These scars were a constant, painful reminder of the person I was before enlisting into the military. It was a dark chapter of my past that I wish I could erase from memory. The peaceful tranquility I had been enjoying was shattered by a loud banging noise nearby. I stiffened, my eyes narrowing as I strained to listen for any further disturbance. After a few seconds of not hearing anything, I walked back into the house and set my coffee mug in the sink, then made my way to the closet by the front door. Donning a thick coat and sturdy steel-toed boots, I slung my rifle over my shoulder, the weight a familiar comfort. With determination, I trudged through the calf-deep snow, heading in the direction of the noise, ready to confront whatever or whoever. The sound of creaking metal grew louder as I ventured down the road away from my cabin. Pushing through the thick snowfall, I came upon the wreckage of a blue Nissan Altima, its front end smashed against a tree, steam hissing from the damaged engine mingling with the frigid air. My hand instinctively reached for the rifle as I scanned the area, searching for any signs of movement. Seeing none, I secured the rifle back over my shoulder and cautiously approached the vehicle, unsure of what I would find. "Anyone in there?" I called out, my voice echoing in the quiet surroundings. When I got no response, I peered through the driver's side window of the wrecked car. "Fuck," I hissed when I saw an unconscious woman lay slumped over the steering wheel with her thick, curly hair partially covering her face. Her lips were bruised and had bluish tint to it, a troubling sight. "Hey, can you hear me?" I urgently called out to her. After I yanked open the door and cleared her hair from her neck to check her pulse, the extent of her injuries became painfully clear. Her face and neck bore bruises and cuts that seemed too old to be from the accident. Dried blood streaked down the side of her head, a dark bruise encircled her neck, old and new scratches marred her arms. My jaw clenched tightly, and I froze in place, the signs of abuse triggering a buried childhood memory. "Hang in there," I whispered softly, barely audible. Setting aside my own painful past, I checked her pulse, weak but steady. Without hesitation, I unbuckled her seatbelt and carefully wrapped my arms around her, lifting her out of the driver's seat. Her head rested against my chest, her black curls blending with the dark fabric of my jacket. As the snow fell heavier, the flakes clung to her thick mass of curls. I quickened my pace, holding her close as I trudged through the thick snow. At the cabin. Placing the unconscious woman gently on the cream-colored leather sofa, I removed her red, black, and white Nikes, then wrapped her snugly in a large, fluffy blanket. Kneeling beside her, I brushed the snow from her hair, watching as her eyelids fluttered, but never fully opened. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you," I uttered in a soothing voice as I continued to brush the snow from her hair. Retrieving the first aid kit from the bathroom cabinet, I returned to her side and carefully cleansed the cut on her temple with an antiseptic wipe and peroxide. My hands moved with the practiced precision of someone familiar with dealing with emergencies like this.
"What are you doing out here in this weather?" I wonder aloud, the crackling red embers of the fire casting a warm glow over the room as the storm raged outside. Leaning in closer, I studied her. Young, beautiful, and her mocha soft skin made her look unreal. Something tucked into the pocket of her red blouse caught my attention.
I carefully extracted the object, a crumpled photograph of the unconscious woman and a tall Caucasian man with honey blonde hair and blue eyes. Her and the man were sitting on a sandy beach, looking at another couple playing in the water in front of them. The man had his arm wrapped around her tiny waist, holding on to her possessively with an unsettling smile plastered on his face. I carefully returned the photo to her pocket, then made my way over to the window. I gazed out at the murky gray sky, watching the snow continue to fall in a relentless cascade while praying that she pulls through this. Turning slightly at the sound of my mystery guest stirring, I observed her breathing steadily, her eyes still closed. "Whoever did this to you, they better hope they don't cross paths with me," I muttered, my gaze lingering on her bruised neck and battered arms. "She's been through hell," I whispered through gritted teeth as I knelt beside her, my thumb gently rubbing across her wrist to check her pulse. "It's getting stronger," I surmised, walking back over to the window. I stood there for a few more minutes, watching the snow stick to the glass. "All right, let's finish getting you cleaned up," I said softly, gathering the necessary supplies from the first aid kit. After soaking a clean washcloth in warm water and wringing it out, I sat on the edge of the sofa and began to gently dab at the dried blood covering her arms. When she let out a low whimper and flinched, I eased up on the pressure I was applying to her arm. "Whoever hurt you didn't expect you to fight back, huh?" I asked, as if I expected her to answer my question. Setting the damp cloth aside, I reached for the roll of gauze on the coffee table and carefully began to wrap both of her arms, starting from her wrists and working my way up to her upper forearms. As I worked to finish cleaning the rest of her wounds, my mind drifted back to memories I try to keep buried. The sound of my wife's laughter filling the house after hearing me singing her favorite song off-key, our son's voice calling out to me as I rock him to sleep at night, and me coming home to find them both murder after spending a few hours with a couple of friends at a local bar. Forcefully shaking those memories away, I refocused my attention on my guest. After checking her temperature with the back of my hand, I tucked the blanket securely around her and walked into the kitchen to set the tea kettle on the stove. While waiting for the water to come to a boil, I stood at the island observing the gentle rise and fall of the chest of my unconscious guest. "Damn, she's so fucking gorgeous," I muttered to myself before tearing my gaze away from her. I reached into the cupboard and retrieved a large red tin canister filled with a blend of herbal teas: chamomile, rosehip, rooibos, peppermint, hibiscus, clove, and ashwagandha.